Every year, every NFL team goes into the NFL draft looking for that player that can change the game for the Detroit Lions. I mean, acquiring Aiden Hutchinson in 2022, Jahmyr Gibbs in 2023, and getting those type of players that can change the game in their rookie year. Even Sam Laporta in 2023 as well. The reach that was called Jahmyr Gibbs, and now he is one of the top running backs in the National Football League. Saquon Barkley actually put him in the top 3, and we know what he was able to do this year, amassing over 2,000 yards, almost breaking the single-season rushing record, but in those 17 games, but they decided to pull him out, and look what happened, wind up winning the Super Bowl. So every year, there is a gamble that you can take, and sometimes you make it, and sometimes you miss. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. The Detroit Lions have their fair share of hits, but it's the misses that we're going to address today. Now, one of the most recent misses in memory for me that I will not forget is in 2020, the Detroit Lions took Jeff Okuda. If you go look at that 2020 draft, it wasn't a lot of great prospects coming out. As a matter of fact, as far as the Detroit Lions taking them, but if you go look at that overall draft class, that first round, only 11 of those 20 or 32 players, 11 of them, I think, had their fifth-year option picked up. Chase Young and Jeff Okuda were the top 2 and 3 picks. Neither one of those guys had their fifth-year options picked up. We also had Tua and Justin Herbert come from those classes. And the Detroit Lions, in my opinion, needing a quarterback, or if they thought they were going to need a quarterback, Justin Herbert was right there. Now, I know what you might think of him. I think he has massive potential, but maybe underperform, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But Jeff Okuda is probably one of the biggest busts in recent memory for my team. So I'm not talking about just overall, but for the Detroit Lions. Now, we're going to focus on players we could safely call busts after the 2024 season. And this is coming from FanSided, a.k.a. SideLineReport.com. Now, for the record, I only call a first-round pick a bust. I think first-round picks have impact implications. I don't care where you're taken in the first round. If you are one of the best 32 players to come out of college, according to scouts, you should be able to make an immediate impact on your team. You've got people like Joe Burrow, the first overall pick, and the impact that he's made. And then you have people like Lamar Jackson, the last pick in the first round, and the impact that he's made. So for me, I only apply the bust label to the first round. I mean, top 5, top 10, it comes a lot quicker, but that's just my qualifications. But I think they're going to have a little bit different from Sideline Report. Now, I'm probably going to read the majority of this, which I don't do a lot. I don't read the article verbatim in every aspect, but I think it's imperative that we do and bring in all this information. So the first person that we're going to safely call a bust from the Detroit Lions, or as far as, I think this is coming from Brad Behrman, says Josh Paschal. He is number 1. I'm actually doing them in reversed order. Now, he says injuries gave Paschal a mulligan over his first 2 seasons. Okay, I disagree with that. The 2024 season was lined up as a critical one for him, and he was mostly healthy, 14 games, 10 starts, 549 defensive snaps. Your excuse if you didn't really notice him, though. Well, I did, with both of his sacks and 4 of his 5 tackles for a loss for the season coming before Thanksgiving. Now, I remember, I think that it was that Houston Texan game that he got a very critical one on C.J. Stroud at the end of like the third quarter or something like that. PFF credited Paschal with a not awful 34 quarterback pressures this past season, but his pass rush win rate is 5.5%, and overall PFF grade were both outside of the top 100 among edge pass rushers. Now, I don't live and die by PFF, but I know a lot of people do. But Josh Paschal is right on the borderline of we drafted him the same year we drafted Jamison Williams, and we drafted Aiden Hutchinson second over. As a matter of fact, we actually got that pick when we went back. We had the Stafford pick, and the Rams were picking 32. We had to give up 32, and however else we did it to come up to 12, we wind up getting 46. And with that 46 pick, we took Josh Paschal. I agreed that while he's not a bust because of my qualifications, I think he has severely underperformed. Yes, we know what he was battling on the field, and even before he was drafted in the National Football League. And I'm glad that he was able to he actually missed those games, because I think 2 of those 3 games that he missed was due to he had to battle, finish up with something with cancer related. So I applaud him there. But as far as the football field is concerned, yes, a little sticky. So I would say definitely if he was a first round pick, I would call him a bust, but I'm not going to give him that title simply because he was a second round pick. But he definitely underperformed. Right now, I know he's under contract. Could see him coming back. Wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. Don't see him being extended or re-signed at the end of next season. Second on the list is Ifeatu Melifonwu. Says Melifonwu will always have the distinction of being the player the Lions took with the first draft pick from the Matthew Stafford trade. That is very true. Unfortunately, injuries have been the primary story of his first 4 NFL seasons, including a 2024 campaign where he had 2 stints on IR. It's worth noting his preseason ankle injury probably should have landed him on IR sooner than it did, and maybe he could have suited up sooner before a dislocated finger put him right back on IR. The bottom line is Melifonwu has played in 37 out of a possible 68 regular season games, so just over 50%. And his breakthrough stretch late in the 2023 season was ultimately a tease he couldn't pay off this past season. He's now a free agent, and the Lions' decision to bring him back is not very easy. I agree with pretty much everything that was said there. I personally think, in my opinion, that had he not had the breakout season that he had, because I thought going into 2023, he was a roster bubble. He was on a roster bubble. I believe that he was. He didn't play for the majority of the 2023 season. And then those last 6 games, he came alive, had like 2 interceptions, a couple sacks, and he was the reason that we was able to seal the game and the NFC North. So I will always be grateful. He will always have the distinction of both those things, not only being the first pick taken with the Matthew Stafford trade, but also helping secure our first NFC North championship. I agree. I think that the potential to bring him back is there. Very cheap deal. I wouldn't be mad if we did. I think the Lions are going to bring him back, but to call him a bust, again, a 3rd round pick, underperformed. None of the guys on this list I could call busts, but I think that where he was taken in the 3rd round, and usually that's in the top 100, right? And the fact that he's been injured, we saw he's played 37 out of 68 games. 34 is 50%. So I'm going to say 54, 55% is what Ify has played. And, if you gave that a grade, that'd be an F. That would be an F. So I don't think he's a bust. I think he's underperformed, and I'm not sure he will be on the team next season. And the third player, don't forget we were doing this in reverse order. I've seen this list. I didn't read it, but I saw the people on it, and I did this on purpose. I wanted to show you who number 3, because number 3 is my number 1. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the number 3 person, or in my case, the number 1 person that we can safely call a bust after 2024, put it in the comment section below, because you already know. We gonna pause for dramatic effect. Is none other than defensive tackle Brodric Martin. The Lions parted with 3 day 3 draft picks to move up and get Martin in the top 196 overall in 2023. He sounds like a spitting image to me. It was known he was a project coming out of Western Kentucky, and a knee injury in the 2024 preseason finale kept him on IR until November to derail hopes of any kind of breakthrough in his second season. But he was a regular healthy scratch late in the season and played in just 2 games, with 23 of his 25 defensive snaps coming in a game where the Lions were very depleted by injuries up front. Martin played just 3 games and 28 snaps in his red shirt rookie season. What his role will be in 2025 is at best unclear, but it's unlikely the Lions will be banking on anything from him. It's not a stretch to tab him even this early as someone who will be on the roster bubble entering training camp. Maybe new defensive line coach Casey Rogers can get something out of him Terrell Williams couldn't. but the miss on Martin looks to be cemented already. You know, I really like Brad Behrman. As a matter of fact, I'm going to reach out to him again to try to get him on the show. I did reach out to him on Twitter, man, a year and a half, 2 years ago, as a way of kind of saying thank you for, you know, doing the work and stuff like that, and having these articles out there that us creators can reference for our content as well. But I agree, there's nothing in there that I don't disagree with. That first paragraph was everything that I've been screaming. And I'm not going to call Brodric Martin a bust because he was a 3rd round pick. But yes, you might see some idiots on the internet who they do a lot of talking, but they can't back it up. They do a lot of threatening, but they also won't back it up. And they're completely soft and just pathetic human beings that will say that Brodric Martin was not taken before Max Crosby, who was taken in the 4th round. And that he was taken, as a matter of fact, let's find out. Let's look up Max Crosby. Max Crosby, we're going to look at his stats because I want to do this in real time. Max Crosby. When was Max Crosby drafted? Max Crosby, ladies and gentlemen, was drafted in the 4th round, pick 106 after all and overall, okay? So that's an idiot for you. Then let's do Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat, let's pull him up. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, Brodric Martin was drafted 96 overall. And what do you know? So was Josh Sweat, drafted after Max Crosby. So don't listen to every idiot on the internet. You can call me an idiot, but at least I know that Brodric Martin was taken after those individuals. But hey, holla at your boy if you want to talk. But the point of this whole thing is you can't trade up for a project. You can't give up on a potential Max Crosby, a potential Josh Sweat for a project. And you know, Juvenile had a song a long time ago, said, I need a project. Every time I hear Brodric Martin's name, I think a Juvenile song, Project. Now, not the latter half of that song, the word in the title, but the fact that it's a project and that beat just stay in my head, right? This was a miss. It's safe to say I have no faith in Brodric Martin. I think he was a colossal failure. He will not amount to anything in the National Football League. That's just how I feel. It's kind of mean. When I say it out loud, it's kind of like, dang, bro, wow, you mean in the mud. Hey, I'm walking here. That's what I'm here to tell you the truth. I ain't talking about the dude as a man. I know he's a new father and getting lean and all that stuff, but look, if I was whack, you wouldn't be watching me, right? Can we say that? If I was super boring and I pretended, you know, and was a narcissistic person, which some of y'all call me that, but trust me, I'm not. But if I was boring, would you continue to watch? You wouldn't, right? You just would call a spade, and Brodric Martin is a spade. As a matter of fact, he the whole foundation of the spade. He's the person that built the spade factory, okay? And I feel bad for him because this is not about him. He was the unfortunate soul, the poor unfortunate soul, that Bradley Matthias, Jerome, Cornelius Holmes, in a desperate opportunity or a need for a pass rush, you decided to go get a project in a situation, I can't even talk, in a situation that you were not in a position to get a project. You understand? You follow me? So this is not even about him. It's not even his fault that this is how it is. But it is what it is. Ryan Leaf was not. Now, Ryan Leaf, number 2 in 96, 2 different, way light years apart, right? But the point is, Ryan Leaf wasn't ready. And the Ryan Leaf legacy is all people remember him by, and the stuff he did after that, right? So my thing is this. I agree with Brodric. Nobody on this list is necessarily a bust because 3rd round picks, what do you expect of them? Do you expect them to be Max Crosby? Do you expect them to be Josh Sweat? Or do you expect them to be a role player, fill in? I look at it like this. 1st, 2nd round, impact. 3rd, 4th round, you could go either way. 5th, 6th, and 7th, you happy to make the team. That's where we at, right? So anyway, let me know what you think. Do you disagree, agree? Do you disagree with my assessment on Brodric Martin? I will not lay off of him. I will not lay off of him until he is not on this team. He is not going to change. He is not going to make a difference. That's just how it is. If Terrell Williams couldn't get anything out of him, I don't know what happened, but he was a miss. All right. So anyway, I know you're tired, y'all, but so am I. I'm tired. I'm tired of no pass rush. So maybe when Brad does something about it, I'll stop talking about it. And then maybe I won't. So let me know what you think. Anyway, this channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. Don't believe everything you hear and see on the internet. Make sure you meet a person and, when you got a nice little vibe of people. People called me disingenuous, which is not true. They did, but I'm telling you, man. And if you're married, you got a significant other. All right, listen to your wife, because your wife, they know. They know when somebody's weird. They know when something is off about a person. And if they say it about me, then believe them. All right, they got a sense, man. They can tell. My wife was like, be careful now. Watch yourself. I don't trust this dude. I don't know. He just don't look right. I was like, nah, get up out of here. Get up out of here. And she was like, I don't trust. And then, bam, what do you know? She was right. So I had to go give her a hug and tell her she was right, which no husband wants to do. No husband wants to say that. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. It's going to be that type of year.